That was a great production, but
It was.
Martin Scorsese, unsure if he can find the spark to make
Jesus
his
Christ,
next
Martin.
movie, Colours of the Flower Moon. Martin
Don't say
Scorsese is trying to get his creative impulse back to make his next movie with Robert De Niro and Leonardo DiCaprio, Killers of the Flower Moon. Just read a little quote here from Scorsese, John, and then I'll let you in. 2020 has taken a heavy toll on everyone's mental health. Yep. Between work getting shut down, constantly worrying about the global health emergency, and interminable bouts of self-isolation.
Pandemic.
Same here. Few people are feeling at the top of their game mentally or physically. Martin Scorsese, who was supposed to start filming his next movie before the lockdown postponed the shoot, admitted to Empire that he is no longer sure if he can get back to work with the same energy. I had this to say: I like that people appreciate my previous movie, The Irishman. I was very touched by that. This global health crisis has stopped a creative process. I turned it on myself, particularly the first couple of months when we were locked in our houses. It eliminated a lot of distraction. I have to find a way to get back to a singular creative impulse for my new film, the way I had for The Irishman. Cut away all the award ceremonies, all the stuff, and get back to being in a room alone with a project and wondering if I can do something again. John, I don't think it doesn't sound like he's actually doubting himself here. And in fact, I actually take positives from this. Take away all the sort of red carpet stuff and all that, and all the the highfalutin stuff and mingling, schmoozing as they call it. These people are making films, they're writing films, and sometimes this kind of pandemic situation may suit a lot of writers out there that have to lock themselves away. They've not got a choice. But sometimes if you're not out and about and you're perhaps maybe a people watcher, Ray Davies, I'll give as an example, John, wrote most of his best work with the Kinks because he was a people watcher. He was out socialising, watching people's...
Steven Limmy.
Yeah,
Great
exactly.
comedian from Glasgow.
Yeah,
Absolute hero
sometimes you need that social interaction to inspire. In the case of Martin Scorsese, it doesn't sound like writer's block to me. It sounds like, he's just trying to find that inspiration and that drive to get his movie, obviously back up and running. When you've got Robert De Niro and Leonardo DiCaprio involved in it, I don't think that's going to be very difficult for Martin Scorsese to have another hit on his hands anyway. A lot of people didn't like The Irishman for some of the technical stuff, but the story and obviously the performances you couldn't fault, and obviously the writing as well. Yeah. I don't think Martin Scorsese will ever have a problem writing a good story or translating an already existing story into a film.
Stephen, I think what he's in a sense saying here, and you're right, I don't think it's a negative. It's not as negative as the actual headlines making it out to be. What he's saying is, I've still got the script here, I'm still involved in the process of the script, and I've not forgotten how to direct a movie overnight. No. Been doing it for about 50, 60 years or whatever he's been doing it, maybe longer. Yeah. He's an old guy now. And I know for a fact that DiCaprio's been working with the script, the actual screenwriter and stuff like that, and they've been making changes, and it's still... Yeah, I don't know if it's in production yet. I think it's maybe still in pre-production at the moment.
I think so. I don't think it's
and
that
they're
far
still making
along.
Little changes. Because I recall speaking about it, the writer conceded some points to DiCaprio, changes for the character. He wanted it to be a more meaty, darker performance. So I think what he's saying here is, and he says it in the actual quote, the creative process, it stopped during the pandemic. He was locked away. He wasn't doing his usual stuff, maybe going through his usual routine. Yeah. And what he does for prepping for a movie. So he has to get back into that zone, find that itch again and get it scratched, and then get right into making this movie. I've got no doubt in my mind that when he works with DiCaprio, it's like what I says, I'm going to commit blasphemy here and compare Martin Scorsese, Leonardo DiCaprio, Peter Berg and Matt Holberg. And they shouldn't be together. But when these guys get together, something magic happens, and I'm pretty sure De Niro's involved in this. He may not be.
He is, yeah.
He's involved in this, De Niro's involved in this, so this is going to be a stupendous movie, man. You can't have that talent. A guy like DiCaprio who picks and chooses his movies, very careful. He's obviously seen something in the script, and who's working closely with the screenwriter, making changes to affect his performance. You're not going to have that kind of talent, that kind of interest from the talent and the director, and not have a good movie at the end of it. And like he says, a lot of people shat in The Irishman, says it wasn't a great movie, it was boring, yada yada yada. These people don't have the concentration, the attention span to appreciate what he was doing. He was telling the story of a guy's entire life from the sort of perspective of being in a housing, a home, a nursing home.
That's right, yeah.
and things been changing. And it was a poetic story. I loved it, man. It did drag on a bit. I had to watch it in 2-3 sort of.
John, I was stuck in a plane, so I didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
But it didn't really. I didn't get that experience. I was just so engrossed in the storyline. I really wanted to see where it was going as well. And the characters were so interesting, you know. And
that was a passion project from Martin.
Yeah,
10
John,
years
and I can go back. I can go back and watch certain scenes, especially with Stephen Graham and Al Pacino. Some of the best scenes you'll see in a film are from those two guys. Robert De Niro, on the other hand, was very underwhelming, I felt, in performance, but I think he had to be. You know, he was the man carrying the story along.
He was a connective tissue.
Yeah, exactly. You know, Pesci's scenes were amazing. You know, every time that guy spoke,
it is what it is.
Amazing. You know, it's so quotable as well. You're late, you know, for a meeting, a dress and a suit, you know, that kind of thing is amazing.
In New York in summer.
It's just great. It's so quotable as well, and that's down to the writing. You know, that's down to Scorsese. I don't think he's got any doubts, and I think you're right, John. I think the headline is probably misleading a little bit, but we're going to move on, John.
They made a documentary about lockdown.
Yeah,
they made a documentary.
Okay,
from his home, sort of doing a sort of diary-like thing of lockdown and how it was affecting him. So
if I can come across that, I would like to see that. Yeah, he's a very interesting man. But we're going to move on to our final topic, John. This is we're just covering